What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are doubling our knowledge of secret actions in the Transformers trading card game. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You see, until now we had seen two. We had seen Battlefield Report and we had seen Dampening Field. Now we know there's 8 coming in Wave 3. That has been already announced, we know that for a fact. So we had seen 2, we've now seen 4. And what was kind of annoying until today is the secret actions, you play them on your turn, but they work on your opponent's turn. At the end of your opponent's next turn, they get discarded, unless they've been used. And if something happens, you reveal them, and then you do something. But both Battlefield Report and Dampening Field got revealed when one of your characters defends, which is always going to happen. Attacking is not optional. So the only way your opponent doesn't attack during their turn is where, say, their only untapped character is a Micromaster, think Raider Ravage here, and they use a tap ability such that they don't have an untapped character at the end of their turn. But that's it. Outside of that weird kind of situation, they're always going to work. Well, the good news is we've had 2 more revealed today by the lovely Scott Van Essen over on the official Facebook. And these are very different indeed. We've got Infiltrate and Take Cover. Now, they've both got blue icons, so, you know, quite nice if you're defending. For anyone keeping count, that's 3 blue icons and 1 white on their secret actions. But come on, we've only seen 4 out of 8. So that doesn't really mean much. And then if we start off having a look at Infiltrate, it gets revealed when your opponent plays an orange action, that is any action with at least 1 orange icon. And when it's revealed, you scrap the action and it has no effect. So basically what you're doing here is you're playing an action to stop your opponent playing an action. But this, unlike the 2 we've previously seen, this could be a waste. This could absolutely be a waste of your time. Because if you put it down and your opponent plays I Still Function, I Still Function has no battle icons. So it doesn't actually do anything. That's a little bit sad. Or you put it down and your opponent plays a Vaporize. Well, Vaporize has a blue icon, not an orange icon. It doesn't work. That's a little bit sad. The good news is there are plenty of actions out there that have orange icons and are really good. One of the ones that springs to mind initially here for me is Supercharge. Orange icons, one of your characters gets bold free until end of turn. And this could be huge. This could be the difference between your opponent getting a KO and your opponent not getting a KO. And that's why this can be such a good secret action. Because this defends like nothing else. It's like getting tough free, essentially. But there is no tough free action card. It's not happening. That means that your opponent loses. Now, not the game, but they lose the opportunity to play Supercharge. And then maybe because they don't have Supercharge, they don't take a KO, which gives you an extra attack. So you then end up winning the game. So maybe this does win you the game. But there is a really interesting ruling query here, and it's all to do with Brainstorm. Because you see, Brainstorm lets you play 2 actions. Such an impactful card, it's actually getting an alternate art reprint in Wave 3. If anyone asks, I think the art's better in Wave 3. I don't know if anyone did ask, but if you care, my preference is for the Wave 3 art. But the question is, what happens if you play 2 actions here? And they've both got an orange. Now, the lovely Ken Nagel has actually answered this in the comment section for this card. Now, that's not the usual protocol. The usual protocol is that we would ask this on a ruling roundup, and then I do a video and all of that. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I won't tell if you don't, because I'm glad I've got the answer. And the answer is this. The first card with an orange icon gets stopped here. Because let's say you've got something like a Peace Through Tyranny. Now, this is a great example. Because Peace Through Tyranny has a double orange icon. So it sees a lot of play, because of the double orange icon, but most of the time you don't want to play this card. Because you see, you have to KO one of your characters with 6 stars or fewer, you then get to take an extra turn, which is lovely, but you got to KO one of your characters with 6 stars or fewer. We don't like this. Generally, this is played for the double orange icon. Also, 6 stars or fewer, how dumb am I? It clearly says 6 stars or more. 6 stars or more, that's actually really important. It would be way better if you could use it for 6 stars or fewer. Anyway, you don't often want to KO one of your characters. So what you could do here is potentially play Peace Through Tyranny to get rid of the secret action, because let's face it, there's a decent chance you'll know what secret actions your opponent is playing, especially in Game 2 of a best-of-3 series, so you can bait it out with Peace Through Tyranny and then play that supercharge. Well, Ken has responded very, I would say unequivocally, the secret action reveals as soon as it can, it's mandatory. The force play puts some extra burden on both players to respect the secret action that's face down on the table. But we think it's best for the mechanic and future cards we want to make. I love this, because here's the other thing. What if your opponent played a Peace Through Tyranny, you chose not to use the secret action, but then they end up going and playing a Vaporize? Well, now they've already played an orange icon card, but there isn't an orange icon card, and then it gets super confusing, and then you're trying to rewind it, and it gets awkward. So it is the first one. I really like this. This is fun. It also means that if you are playing a Brainstorm, and you are playing 2 orange icon cards, and you suspect your opponent might have whacked one of these down on the table, you think there might be an Infiltrate there, you've got to be super careful about the order. A lot of the time, this is going to be super awkward, because either you're risking playing it for nothing, or you're using an action to stop your opponent using an action. But it's one of those things that depends on the turn. If you really need to stop your opponent playing a Peace Through Tyranny, this is amazing. If you really need to stop your opponent playing a Supercharge, this is amazing. Otherwise, you've probably got a lot of other actions you'd rather play instead. But we've also got Take Cover, which again has a unique reveal mechanic. It gets revealed if one or more of your characters would take non-attack damage during your opponent's turn. And when it's revealed, your characters cannot take non-attack damage this turn. Now, the wording on Take Cover is extremely important. Your characters can't take non-attack damage this turn. So what Take Cover actually does is protect all of your characters from all non-attack damage for the entire turn. I love this. This is like Motormaster, but better. So at the moment, the gold standard of stopping non-attack damage is Motormaster. We have seen Captain Ironhide, I revealed him, yay, who, when he's in ult mode, is immune to non-attack damage, but that's just him. Motormaster protects all of your characters from non-attack damage, but does not protect himself. That's very important. This protects all of your characters, not all but one. Now, it's unlikely, but if you can catch your opponent playing a Photon Bomb here, that would be hilarious. Because your opponent goes to play Photon Bomb, do 2 damage to each character. Take Cover protects all of your characters, but not your opponents. Which means they play a card which drops 2 damage onto each of their characters and does nothing to you. It's not going to happen often, but you know that at some point this is going to happen. And I, for one, really hope someone posts about it in one of the Facebook groups, because I want to hear that story. Also, if you do it or it happens to you, hit me up on Twitter at the Wossy. I'm sorry, I want to hear about it. And the good news here is that it protects you from an awful lot of stuff. I've already mentioned Photon Bomb here, but it protects you from all manner of cards like Plasma Burst, like Zap, like Bolt of Lightning, which is a star card, so you can basically protect from a star card and make it pointless, at least for that turn, which is kind of fun. But it will also stop something like Armed Hovercraft that does damage when you attach it to one of your ranged characters. But then it will also stop damage done by abilities. So let's say, for argument's sake, your opponent is playing a Major Ultra Magnus. It's got that skill in bot mode whereby if you flip 2 orange, 2 blue icons, it does 1 damage to each character. Well, the great news is you'll protect your characters but not your opponents, so it's only 1 damage, but it's basically like I just talked about with Photon Bomb, which is brilliant for you, not for your opponent. This is way more likely to happen, and it says during your opponent's turn. So it can be when they play an action, when they play an upgrade, before they attack, when they attack, during the attack. Any time this will come in, right until the attack resolves and your opponent's turn finishes. I adore Take Cover, with one gigantic caveat. There are just a whole bunch of decks that don't do cheeky damage. Now, if you're against a Wave 1 playing deck, which is probably playing Armed Hovercraft, and is probably playing Thundercracker, which does cheeky damage. When you flick into ult mode, you get to do 2 damage to a melee character, and is probably playing Starscream, which when it flips into ult mode does 1 damage to one of your opponent's characters for each plane. Yes, love it. It's amazing. But otherwise, you might be playing against a whole bunch of decks that don't do non-attack damage. And that's really sad. Now, I do want to remind you of a ruling here, and that is that Steamroll, an action card, and Grimlock, a character from Wave 1, both do the same thing, whereby if you do enough damage to KO, and a bit more, then your opponent chooses a character onto which to redirect the extra damage. That's non-attack damage. It will also be blocked by Take Cover. And one of the things I adore about Take Cover is it protects all of your characters for the whole turn. So your opponent tries to play a zap, it'll protect you from the zap, and then it will protect you from their Armed Hovercraft, and then it will protect you from their Thundercracker, for instance. There's a lot here. But by the same token, if your opponent suspects you've played a Take Cover, they can just hold on for a turn. They can flip Major Ultra Magnus into ult mode before they attack. And generally speaking, you won't really want to. You'd rather be in bot mode because you've got more attack. Only 1, but still. And because you've got the skill. But you know what? Maybe you need to. The other thing is it's actually got Brave in ult mode, so you got to be pretty brave to risk that here all week. So I like these new cards. Here's the thing, though. On the one hand, they're way more interesting because they've got a new reveal trigger and they might not be revealed. But then, by the very definition, that makes them situational. You might put down an Infiltrate and your opponent doesn't play an action with an orange icon, and you've wasted your action for the turn. You may play down a Take Cover and your opponent doesn't try any cheeky damage, so you've wasted your action for the turn. That's a little bit sad. Now, I do also need to mention here that we do have Major Shockwave, and Major Shockwave allows you to play secret actions from the top of your deck as if they were in your hand. So they're really good with Major Shockwave. I also need to give a quick shout out to Skywarp here. When you play a secret action, you draw a card. That's quite nice. And when you flip it into ult mode, return up to 2 secret actions that have different names from your scrap pile to your hand. The problem is your opponent will see the ones that you're picking up, and that means that you might actually tip your hand. And for situational secret actions, you do run the risk of your opponent going, oh, they've got an Infiltrate. Oh, yeah, maybe I just don't play any orange icon actions for a turn or two, just until there's no secret action there ready to get me. So that's a little bit sad. And I also should give a quick shout out here to Wheeljack, who, when you're in bot mode and you play your 3rd action of the turn, you draw a card. Bearing in mind, they will count if they're secret actions as well. So, you know, Captain Wheeljack could be a fun one here to have a little bit of a play around with. Certainly can take advantage of this. And I've mentioned Brainstorm already, but we do also have a card that lets you play 2 secret actions during your turn. So if you want to really get your secret actions on, you're golden here. I am, of course, talking about Special Ops Mission. So if you're into that, that will work. I, for one, ladies and gentlemen, am delighted. I've been waiting to see more of these secret actions, and now we've got 2 to show you in one. Longer video so that we could get through 2 in one video. As always, let me know what you think about this. Do you like it when I look at 2 in one video, or would you rather I did 2 separate videos and spent a few extra minutes on each of them? Let me know in the comment section. Genuinely very excited and interested, probably a better word, to hear your feedback. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I like these. I think they're cool. I want to know what you think about them. So please do tell me your thoughts about both of these cards in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about games. Like, Transformers, Keyforge, Pokemon, Final Fantasy. Turns out I like games. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.